Why was she smiling? That's what Corporal Jake Morrison couldn't understand. The woman standing in the middle of their circle, this nobody civilian contractor in a faded gray uniform, had just been shoved for the third time and she was smiling. Not a nervous smile, not a please leave me alone smile, something else entirely. Something that made his stomach twist in a way he couldn't explain. The hangar at Camp Lejeune was alive with the metallic symphony of maintenance work. Wrenches clanged against aircraft parts. Hydraulic lifts hissed and groaned. 50 Marines moved through their duties, but right now, at least 20 of them had stopped to watch, to witness what Sergeant Dean Keller and his crew were doing to the new contractor who'd arrived that morning. She couldn't have been more than 5'6". Brown hair pulled back in a regulation bun. No makeup, no jewelry, nothing remarkable about her at all except for those eyes. Gray-blue like storm clouds over the Atlantic, and they weren't afraid. I asked you a question, sweetheart. Dean stepped closer, his 6'3" frame towering over her. His voice carried across the hangar, performing for his audience. Do you even know what a CH-53 Super Stallion is? The woman adjusted the clipboard in her hands. Her fingers were steady, too steady. It's a helicopter, Sergeant. Laughter erupted from the circle. Lance Corporal Maria Vasquez, who usually had more sense than this, slapped her knee. A helicopter. Oh man, she called it a helicopter. Staff Sergeant Troy Bennett crossed his arms, his biceps straining against his tan t-shirt. It's a heavy-lift helicopter, contractor, the most powerful in the Marine Corps arsenal. Show some respect. My apologies. Her voice remained calm, professional, almost amused. A heavy-lift helicopter. Jake watched her eyes drift past Dean's shoulder to the Super Stallion parked 30 feet away. It was only for a second, maybe less, but in that second something happened. Her gaze swept across the aircraft with a precision that made his skin prickle. Not the way a contractor looked at equipment. The way a pilot checked her bird before a mission. But that was crazy. She was just some civilian doing inventory checks, wasn't she? You know what I think? Dean leaned in close enough that the woman had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. I think you don't belong here. I think you're just another desk jockey who got lost on the way to the admin building. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, Sergeant. Then prove it. Dean pulled his phone from his pocket, angling it to capture her face. Let's test what you know. Troy, start recording. This is going to be good. Troy pulled out his phone too. So did Maria. Within seconds, 3 cameras were pointed at the woman, and Jake felt his unease deepen into something uglier, something that felt wrong. The woman named on her badge, E. Mercer, didn't flinch at the phones. She stood there, clipboard clutched against her chest like a shield, and waited. Okay, contractor. Dean's voice dripped with condescension. What's the maximum troop capacity of a CH-53E? Numbers flashed behind her eyes. Jake saw it. Just for a millisecond, data scrolling through her mind like she was reading from a manual burned into her memory. But she said, I'm not sure, Sergeant. I handle supply inventory, not specifications. Exactly. Dean turned to his audience, arms spread wide. They send us people who don't know anything about what we do. How are we supposed to trust civilians to handle our equipment when they don't even understand it? Master Gunnery Sergeant Raymond Cole stood near the hangar entrance, watching. 48 years old, silver threading through his hair, eyes that had seen 3 wars and too many funerals. He'd been about to leave, but something made him stay. Something in the way the woman held herself, spine straight, shoulders back, feet planted in a stance that whispered of training most civilians never received. Here's an easier one. Maria stepped forward, her ponytail swinging. What's the Super Stallion's primary mission? Again that flash behind the woman's eyes. Information surfacing, being suppressed, drowning back down into whatever well she'd buried it in. Transport, I imagine. You imagine, Maria laughed. This is what we're working with, people, civilians who imagine. The woman's jaw tightened, just barely. just enough for Jake to see that she was choosing not to speak, choosing not to correct them. But why? Dean walked over to the super stallion, running his hand along its fuselage with exaggerated reverence. This beautiful machine can carry 37 combat-loaded troops. It can lift 16 tons. It's the backbone of Marine Corps aviation logistics. He turned back to her. But you wouldn't know that, would you? No, Sergeant. No, Sergeant, he mimicked. What do you know, contractor? Can you even tell me what MOS I am? She looked at him, really looked at him, and Jake saw something shift in her expression, something dangerous stirring beneath that calm surface. But she said, I don't know, Sergeant. Troy moved closer with his phone. This is already at 5,000 views. The internet loves watching civilians get educated. Private First Class Danny Reed sat on a toolbox 20 feet away. 19 years old, fresh from aviation school and deeply uncomfortable with what he was watching. He leaned toward the Marine next to him. Doesn't this seem, I don't know, wrong? His companion shrugged. Entertainment's entertainment, man. But Danny couldn't shake the feeling that they were all missing something, something important. Dean circled the woman like a shark. Tell you what, contractor, I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. See that bird? He pointed at the super stallion. Walk over there and tell me if you notice anything wrong with it. It was a trap. Jake knew it. Everyone knew it. There was nothing wrong with that helicopter. It had just passed full inspection yesterday. Dean was setting her up to fail, to humiliate herself by pretending to find problems that didn't exist. The woman hesitated, actually hesitated. Her fingers gripped the clipboard tighter, and for the first time Jake saw something like fear in her eyes. But it wasn't fear of Dean. It was fear of what? Of being discovered, of revealing something she desperately wanted to keep hidden. I don't think that's appropriate, Sergeant. Her voice had dropped lower, quieter. I'm not qualified to inspect military aircraft. Oh, now you're not qualified, Dean laughed. 2 minutes ago you were assigned to handle our equipment. Make up your mind, sweetheart. Raymond Cole stepped forward. Finally, his voice cut through the hangar like a blade. Sergeant Keller. Dean straightened immediately. Master Guns. What exactly is happening here? Just getting to know the new contractor, Master Guns, making sure she understands how things work. Raymond's eyes, hard as granite, swept across the circle, across the phone still recording, across the Marines who suddenly couldn't meet his gaze. By surrounding her, by humiliating her, by creating a hostile work environment that could cost this unit a harassment complaint. We were just. I know what you were doing, Sergeant. Raymond's tone could have frozen gasoline. Everyone back to work now. The circle broke apart, slowly, reluctantly. Troy and Maria pocketed their phones. Dean's jaw clenched, but he couldn't argue with a master gunnery sergeant. As they dispersed, Raymond approached the woman. His voice softened just slightly. You okay, ma'am? She nodded. Yes, Master Gunnery Sergeant, thank you. What's your name? Emma Mercer, Master Guns. Raymond studied her face. There was something familiar about her, something he couldn't quite place, like seeing someone you knew years ago, changed by time and circumstance but still recognizable underneath. You need anything, Emma, you come find me. Understood. Understood, Master Guns. He started to walk away, then paused. Emma, have we met before? Her eyes met his, and in them Raymond saw a lifetime of secrets. No, Master Guns, I don't think so. But as she said it, she broke eye contact, looked down, and Raymond Cole, who'd spent 30 years reading people in combat zones and interrogation rooms, knew with absolute certainty that Emma Mercer had just lied to him. The question was why. The sun had set 3 hours ago. The on-base housing complex was quiet except for the distant sound of jets taking off from the airfield. Emma Mercer sat in her small assigned quarters, a sparse room with government tissue furniture and beige walls, staring at the phone in her hand. She shouldn't call. Every protocol she'd memorized over 12 years screamed at her not to make contact. Not yet. Not until absolutely necessary. But her fingers moved across the screen anyway, dialing a number only 6 people in the world knew existed. It rang twice. Verify. The voice was female, clipped professional. Sierra, Echo, 7-3, Victor. Emma's voice was barely above a whisper, requesting status update on Operation Silent Watch. A pause, the sound of typing. Then, status unchanged. Continue mission parameters. Maintain cover. No unauthorized contact. Understood. Emma's jaw clenched. Today I was surrounded by 5 Marines. They recorded it, posted it online. Master Gunnery Sergeant Cole intervened. Another pause, longer this time. Raymond Cole. Yes. He recognized you. Emma closed her eyes. 12 years ago she'd been a different person, different name, different face, almost younger, harder, with scars that plastic surgery had smoothed away. But the eyes, you couldn't change the eyes. He asked if we'd met before. What did you tell him? No. Did he believe you? That was the question, wasn't it? Emma had seen the doubt in Raymond's expression, the way his gaze had lingered just a second too long. I don't know. If he identifies you, the mission is compromised. 12 months of work, millions in resources, and the target walks away. I know. Emma stood, packing the small room. But I didn't have a choice. If I demonstrated any operational knowledge, they would have flagged me immediately. Better to seem incompetent than capable. Agreed. The woman on the phone exhaled. But that video is a problem. How many views? Last I checked, 15,000. It's at 42,000 now, trending in military social media circles. Comments are not kind. Emma had seen some of them. Civilian idiot, send her back to the office. Why do we even hire these people? Each one a small knife, but she'd taken worse wounds. Can we contain it? No, attempting to remove it would draw more attention. Let it run its course. In 3 days it'll be forgotten. A pause. Emma, if this becomes too complicated. It won't. Emma's voice hardened. I've been operational for 6 months. I'm close. Target's pattern is predictable. 2 more weeks and I'll have what we need. 2 weeks is a long time to maintain cover under increased scrutiny. I can handle it. I know you can, that's why you're there. The woman's tone shifted, became almost gentle. But Emma, that video, Dean Keller, Troy Bennett, Maria Vasquez, they don't know who they were talking to. They don't know that the woman they surrounded is. Don't, Emma cut her off. Don't say the code name, not on this line. Right, sorry, a breath, just be careful, the target is dangerous if he suspects anything. He won't. Emma looked at her reflection in the dark window, a nobody contractor, a woman whose entire existence was designed to be overlooked, underestimated, dismissed, perfect camouflage. I've played this role 100 times. Never for this long, never this deep. That was true. Emma had spent 12 years doing short operations, 3 months here, 6 months there, always moving, never settling, never letting anyone look too closely. But this target required patience, required embedding herself so thoroughly into the daily machinery of base life that she became invisible. And it was working until today. I need to go, Emma said. Someone's outside. She ended the call and deleted it from her history, listening. Footsteps on the concrete walkway, stopping at her door, a knock. Emma opened it to find Jake Morrison standing there, hands shoved in his pockets, looking deeply uncomfortable. Corporal, she kept her voice neutral, is there something I can help you with? Jake shifted his weight. I wanted to apologize for today, that wasn't right, what Dean did, what we all did. Emma studied him, 24, maybe 25. Good kid, decent eyes, the kind of Marine who joined because he believed in something bigger than himself, not because he wanted to break things. You didn't do anything, Corporal. Yeah, but I didn't stop it either. He met her gaze. I just stood there and watched. That makes me part of it. Interesting. Self-awareness was rare, especially in someone so young. Emma softened her stance slightly. I appreciate you coming by, but I'm fine. Really. Are you, though? Jake leaned against the doorframe. Because that video has 80,000 views now. People are. They're saying some really harsh stuff. People always do, Emma shrugged. I'm not here to make friends, Corporal. I'm here to do a job. Yeah, about that. Jake hesitated. Can I ask you something? And you can tell me to mind my own business if you want. Emma's pulse quickened. Careful, what? When Dean asked you about the super stallion, you knew the answers, didn't you? Her heart stopped, completely stopped. For 2 full seconds, Emma couldn't breathe. Because Jake Morrison, 24-year-old corporal with kind eyes and probably a girlfriend back home, had just seen what dozens of intelligence officers and surveillance cameras had missed. She'd slipped just for a millisecond, but it had been enough. I don't know what you mean. Her voice remained steady through sheer force of will. Yes, you do. Jake's tone wasn't accusatory, just curious. I watched your eyes when he asked about troop capacity, about mission profiles, about everything. Information flashed across your face before you said, I don't know, like you were reading from a manual in your head. Emma said nothing. Couldn't. Because responding either confirmed or denied, and both options led to questions she couldn't answer. Jake ran a hand through his short hair. Look, I don't know what's going on. Maybe you used to work in aviation logistics or something. Maybe you studied this stuff in college. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. He paused. I guess I'm just saying that if you ever need someone to talk to, someone who won't judge, I'm around. Thank you, Corporal. Emma's voice was ice. But I assure you there's nothing to talk about. I'm exactly who I appear to be, a contractor doing inventory checks, nothing more. Okay, Jake backed away, hands raised. Okay, I hear you. I'll leave you alone. Just be careful. Dean and his crew, they're not done with you. This video thing has turned into a pride issue for them. I can handle Sergeant Keller. I'm sure you can. Jake smiled, sad and knowing. That's what worries me. He left. Emma closed the door, locked it, and stood in the darkness of her quarters, breathing carefully. In, out, controlling the panic that threatened to overwhelm her. Jake Morrison had seen her, really seen her. Through the cover, through the performance, through 12 years of training in how to become invisible. One observant corporal, that's all it took. Emma moved to her laptop, opened an encrypted folder hidden 3 layers deep in her hard drive. Inside were files, photographs, surveillance reports, all focused on one man, Chief Warrant Officer Marcus Webb. 53 years old, 28 years in the Corps, aviation logistics specialist, decorated veteran, respected leader, and according to 18 months of signals intelligence, a traitor selling classified helicopter maintenance protocols to a foreign power. They'd lost 3 Marines in Yemen because of him. A super stallion had gone down during a rescue operation, killed by a malfunction that should have been caught during routine maintenance. But Webb had altered the inspection schedules, created vulnerabilities, ensured certain aircraft would fail at critical moments. The foreign power paid him well, $700,000 over 5 years, deposited in a Cayman Islands account under his dead brother's name. Emma's job was simple: get close, gain his trust, document the handoff, catch him in the act with evidence so overwhelming that no military tribunal could acquit him. She'd spent 6 months positioning herself perfectly. Webb liked her, thought she was competent but harmless. A contractor he could manipulate, use, discard. He was grooming her to help him, though he didn't know she knew it yet. 2 more weeks. That's all she needed. 2 weeks until Webb's next scheduled contact with his handler. But now Jake Morrison was watching, and Master Guns Raymond Cole was suspicious. And a viral video had turned her into someone people noticed instead of someone they ignored. Emma stared at Webb's photograph, at his kind smile and gentle eyes, and the medals on his chest that represented sacrifices she'd never question, except he'd betrayed every single one of them, and 3 Marines had died because of it. 2 more weeks, she whispered to the empty room. Just give me 2 more weeks. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number, text message. You did good today, staying in character. I'm impressed. R.C. Raymond Cole. How did he get her number? Emma deleted the message and threw the phone on her bed, lay down in the darkness, stared at the ceiling, and wondered if she'd make it 2 more weeks before everything collapsed. The crash happened at 3:47 hours. Emma was awake. She was always awake at 3:47, some internal clock that never adjusted no matter how many years passed, when the explosion shook her windows. Not close, maybe 2 miles away, but unmistakable, that deep, resonant boom that came from aircraft fuel igniting. She was dressed and out the door in 90 seconds, running toward the airfield. Other Marines poured from their quarters, some in uniform, some in civilian clothes thrown on hastily. Emergency sirens wailed across the base. Red lights flashed from fire trucks already racing toward the flight line. Emma reached the perimeter fence and stopped. 300 yards away, a CH-53 Super Stallion was burning. Flames reached 50 feet into the night sky, fed by thousands of gallons of aviation fuel. Fire crews surrounded it, pouring foam and water, but the bird was gone, completely destroyed. Jesus Christ, a voice next to her. Dean Keller staring at the inferno with horror etched across his face. That's Bird 7. We just did full maintenance on her yesterday. Emma's blood turned to ice. Bird 7, Webb's bird, the one he'd personally signed off on. This wasn't an accident. Raymond Cole appeared through the crowd, moving with the purposeful stride of someone who needed answers immediately. He grabbed a fire crew chief. Casualties? None, Master Guns. Bird was empty. Scheduled for a transport run at 600, but nobody was on board yet. What caused it? Too early to tell, but the explosion originated in the engine compartment. Fuel system, maybe. We'll know more after investigation. Raymond's eyes swept the crowd and locked onto Emma. He started walking toward her, and she felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. Emma, he stopped 3 feet away. You're out of quarters at 3:47, that's quick. I'm a light sleeper, Master Guns. Uh-huh, he studied her face. You know anything about helicopter maintenance? Every instinct screamed danger. No, Master Guns. That's funny because I've been asking around about you. Emma Mercer, no prior military service, no aviation background, hired 6 months ago through a civilian contractor firm. He took a step closer. Except that contractor firm, it's a shell company, dissolved 3 weeks ago, no forwarding address. Emma's heart hammered, but her face remained calm. I don't know anything about that, Master Guns. I just do my job. Right, your job. Raymond crossed his arms. Which is what exactly? Because I've been watching. You do inventory checks, but you never write anything down. You never actually count anything. You just walk through the hangars, look at the equipment, and leave. I submit digital reports. I've read them. They're perfect, too perfect, like they were written by someone who knows exactly what should be there without having to check. His voice dropped lower. Who are you, Emma? Before she could answer, Jake Morrison ran up, breathing hard. Master Guns, Webb is gone. Raymond's head snapped around. What? Chief Warrant Officer Webb. Nobody can find him. His quarters are empty. His truck is gone. It's like he just disappeared. Emma closed her eyes. No, not yet. Not before she had proof. Not before. Lock down the base. Raymond's voice cracked like a whip. Nobody leaves. I want security at every gate. Someone get Colonel Harrison, now. Marines scattered to execute his orders. Raymond turned back to Emma, and the suspicion in his eyes had hardened into certainty. You know where Webb is. No, don't lie to me. His voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the chaos around them like a gunshot. That bird didn't just explode. Webb didn't just disappear. And you didn't just happen to show up 6 months ago with a fake background and a job that doesn't make sense. He leaned in close. I'm going to ask you one more time. Who are you? Emma looked at the burning helicopter, at the Marines running everywhere, at the base going into lockdown because of a traitor who just slipped away while she was playing pretend contractor. 3 Marines had died in Yemen, and now Webb was gone, and it was her fault for waiting too long, for being too cautious for. My name is Captain Alina Reeves. The words came out before she could stop them. Defense Intelligence Agency, Operational Call Sign, Phantom, and I've been hunting Marcus Webb for 18 months. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the chaos around them seemed to fade into background noise. Raymond stared at her. You're DIA. Yes, Master Guns. And Webb is a traitor, selling classified maintenance protocols to a foreign power. 3 Marines died in Yemen because of aircraft malfunctions he engineered. Emma's voice shook with barely contained rage. I was this close. 2 more weeks and I would have caught him making contact with his handler. Would have had everything documented, prosecutable, airtight. But he burned his bird and ran. Why would he burn his own aircraft? Because I spooked him. Emma's hands clenched into fists. That video, me getting harassed in the hangar, it went viral. 42,000 views, and Webb saw it. He saw me getting questioned about the super stallion, saw me pretending not to know anything, and he realized I knew too much to be that ignorant. Smart contractors don't last long around suspicious people, so he panicked, destroyed evidence, and ran. Jake Morrison, still standing nearby, looked like someone had hit him with a hammer. You're a spy. An intelligence officer, Emma corrected. There's a difference. Is Emma Mercer even your real name? No. Dean Keller pushed through the crowd, his face pale. Master Guns, what's going on? Raymond didn't take his eyes off Emma. Sergeant Keller, congratulations. Your little harassment video just helped a traitor escape justice. Dean's mouth opened, closed, no sound came out. Colonel Marcus Harrison arrived, flanked by military police. 58 years old, combat infantry badge on his chest, eyes that missed nothing. Someone better start explaining why my base is on lockdown. Raymond gestured to Emma. Colonel, meet Captain Alina Reeves, DIA. Apparently, she's been operating undercover on your base for 6 months, and we just lost her target. Harrison's gaze swept over Emma, taking in her civilian clothes, her contractor badge, the way she stood at parade rest despite not wearing a uniform. Captain Reeves, would you like to explain what the hell is happening? And Emma did, all of it. Webb's treason, the Yemen deaths, the 18-month investigation, her deep cover operation, the viral video that had blown her cover and sent Webb running. She spoke clearly, professionally, with the clipped precision of someone delivering a mission debrief. When she finished, Harrison was silent for a long moment. Then he said, Do you have any idea where Webb went? He has 3 possible escape routes. Primary, commercial flight out of Jacksonville, probably already airborne. Secondary, private boat from Wrightsville Beach, meeting a freighter offshore. Tertiary, overland to Virginia, crossing into Mexico within 48 hours using false documentation. Which one do you think he took? Emma closed her eyes, running through Webb's psychological profile. Risk-averse, methodical, prefers familiar territory. The boat, he's ex-Navy, he'll go for water. Harrison pulled out his phone. Get me Coast Guard, full alert. I want every vessel within 200 miles stopped and searched. He looked at Emma. You better be right, Captain. I am, Emma's voice was steel, and I'm going with them. Like hell you are. You're DIA, not NCIS. You're not operational law enforcement. With respect, Colonel, I've spent 18 months on this case. I know Webb better than anyone. I know how he thinks, how he moves, what he'll do when cornered. She stepped closer. That's my op out there. I'm not letting him slip away. Harrison studied her, really looked at her, and Emma saw the moment he recognized something in her eyes. The same thing Raymond had seen. The thing that marked someone who'd been in combat, who'd seen death, who'd crossed lines that couldn't be uncrossed. What's your real background, Captain Reeves? Emma's jaw tightened. That's classified, sir. I'm a full bird colonel with TS-SCI clearance. Try again. She hesitated, then Force Recon 3 tour, Iraq and Afghanistan, transitioned to DIA after my team was compromised. Lost 7 Marines because someone sold our position to insurgents. The investigation failed. The traitor walked away. Her voice cracked just slightly. I won't let that happen again, not with Webb. Harrison held her gaze for 10 seconds, then nodded. Gear up, Captain. You have 30 minutes. Raymond, you're going with her. Sir, Raymond's eyebrows shot up. If Captain Reeves is right about the boat, you'll need someone who knows how to board a hostile vessel. You spent 10 years in recon. Consider yourself reinstated. Harrison's expression hardened. And Reeves, if Webb resists. Emma's voice was ice. Then he won't be coming back alive. The Coast Guard cutter cut through dark water at 32 knots, radar sweeping the ocean for any vessel matching Webb's description. Emma stood on the forward deck, salt spray stinging her face, watching the horizon. She'd changed into operational gear, black cargo pants, tactical vest, sidearm at her hip. For the first time in 6 months, she looked like who she really was, not a contractor, not a nobody, a predator. Raymond stood beside her, similarly equipped. He'd been silent for the past 20 minutes, processing everything. Finally, he spoke. You said your call sign was Phantom. Yes, Master Guns. I knew someone who used that call sign 12 years ago. Fallujah, Force Recon team that held a building against 200 insurgents for 36 hours. Everyone said they were ghosts, said they couldn't be killed. He paused. The team leader was a woman, never saw her face, but I saw her work. She was exceptional. Emma said nothing. That was you, wasn't it? Still nothing. Raymond turned to look at her. The Marines who harassed you today. Dean, Troy, Maria. They have no idea who they were talking to, that they surrounded one of the most decorated Force Recon operators in Corps history. I'm not decorated anymore. Emma's voice was hollow. All my commendations are classified, sealed. I don't exist in any official record. Because of what happened to your team. Yes, the word came out like broken glass. 7 Marines, ambushed during a high-value target extraction because someone sold our route, our timing, our entire operational plan. We lost 4 in the first 60 seconds, the other 3. She stopped, breathed. I carried them out, one at a time, through 6 miles of hostile territory. Took me 11 hours. By the time I got the last one to safety, he'd already bled out in my arms. And the traitor was a Navy commander, someone we trusted, someone who had access to our planning sessions. Emma's hands gripped the railing. The investigation lasted 9 months, but he had friends, had connections. The evidence disappeared. Witnesses changed their stories, and he retired with full honors while my team went into the ground. So you left Recon and joined DIA. I didn't leave. I was transferred against my will. They said I was too focused, too obsessed with finding the traitor, that I'd become a liability. She laughed bitterly. But DIA saw value in someone who couldn't let go, someone who'd spend years hunting down the people who betray their own. So they gave me a new identity, a new face, a new life, and I've been doing this ever since. Raymond processed this. How many have you caught? Webb would have been number 12. Would have been. If he gets away, I failed again. Emma's voice cracked. Those 3 Marines in Yemen, they died because I was too slow, too cautious. I had 18 months, Raymond. 18 months, and I couldn't close the loop fast enough to save them. That's not your fault. Isn't it? She turned to face him, and her eyes were wet. I'm supposed to be good at this. Supposed to be Phantom, the ghost who sees everything, who never fails, who always gets her target. But I keep being too late. Keep watching people die while I collect evidence and build cases and follow protocols. And for what? So traitors can have a fair trial. Yes, Raymond's voice was firm. Because that's what separates us from them. We follow the law. We do things the right way. The right way got 3 Marines killed. And the wrong way would make you no better than Webb. Before Emma could respond, the cutter's intercom crackled. Contact, 40-foot pleasure craft heading southeast at 12 knots, matches the description, 2 miles. Emma was moving before the announcement finished. She grabbed binoculars, scanned the dark water, and found it. White hull, blue trim, running without lights, trying to be invisible. But Emma had spent 12 years learning to see invisible things. That's him. She lowered the binoculars. That's Webb's boat. I recognize it from surveillance photos. The cutter's captain, a grizzled Coast Guard lieutenant named Patterson, approached. We'll hail him. Give him a chance to surrender peacefully. He won't. Emma checked her sidearm. He's facing life in Leavenworth for treason. He'll fight. Then we'll be ready. Patterson turned to his crew. Battle stations. I want spotlights on that vessel. Prepare boarding team. The cutter accelerated, closing the distance. Spotlights blazed to life, turning night into day. The pleasure craft was clearly visible now, and clearly trying to run, its engine roaring as it attempted to flee. This is the United States Coast Guard. Patterson's voice boomed through the loudspeaker. Cut your engine and prepare to be boarded. The response was a muzzle flash from the pleasure craft's stern, a rifle shot that pinged off the cutter's hull. He's shooting at us. One of the Coast Guard crew dove for cover. Return fire, Patterson ordered. Disable that boat. Coast Guard marksmen opened up, controlled bursts aimed at the pleasure craft's engine. But the boat was fast, zigging and zagging, making targeting difficult. Emma moved to the bow, raised her sidearm, and aimed. Not at the engine, at the helm, where she knew Webb would be standing, because she'd studied his boating habits for 6 months and knew exactly where he positioned himself when he captained his vessel. She fired 3 shots, precise, surgical. The pleasure craft's windshield shattered, its engine cut immediately. The boat drifted to a stop, dead in the water. How did you? Raymond stared at her. I told you I know Webb. Emma holstered her weapon. He's hit, not fatally. I aimed for his shoulder, but he's done running. The cutter pulled alongside the pleasure craft. Boarding team deployed, weapons ready. Emma and Raymond went with them, crossing the gap between vessels with practiced ease. They found Webb in the cabin. 53 years old, gray-haired, bleeding from a shoulder wound, trying to reach a pistol on the deck. Emma kicked it away and knelt beside him. Hello, Marcus. Webb looked up, his face twisted with pain and recognition. Emma, but you're just a contractor. No, Emma's voice was deadly calm. I'm Captain Alina Reeves, DIA, Operational Call Sign, Phantom, and you're under arrest for treason, espionage, and conspiracy to commit murder. You can't prove anything. Blood seeped through Webb's fingers as he clutched his shoulder. You have no evidence. Emma smiled. No warmth in it, just cold satisfaction. Actually, Marcus, I have everything. 18 months of surveillance. Your meetings with foreign handlers, your bank accounts, every single transmission you sent, every protocol you sold, every aircraft you sabotaged. She leaned closer. And you know what the beautiful thing is? When you destroyed Bird 7 tonight, you thought you were eliminating evidence. But you actually gave me the last piece I needed, proof of sabotage, witnessed by 300 Marines, with your signature on the maintenance logs. Webb's face went white, whiter than the blood loss could explain. Those 3 Marines in Yemen. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. Sergeant Michael Torres, Corporal Jennifer Kim, Lance Corporal David Murphy. They died because of your greed, because you sold their safety for $700,000. She stood. I hope it was worth it. Coast Guard medics moved in to treat Webb's wound. Raymond helped them restrain him, read him his rights, process him for transport. Emma walked to the boat's stern and stared at the ocean, at the dark water that had almost carried Webb to freedom. Her phone buzzed, text from her DIA handler. "Congratulations, Phantom. Target secured. Mission successful." Mission successful. 3 Marines still dead. 7 more dead from her old team. 11 traitors caught, but how many more out there, still selling secrets, still betraying the people who trusted them? Raymond joined her at the railing. "You did good, Captain. You got him." "Did I?" Emma's laugh was hollow. "It took 18 months. 3 Marines died waiting for me to do my job." "You can't save everyone." "I know," she turned to face him, "but I should have saved them. That's why I exist, Raymond. That's my entire purpose. I'm the ghost who hunts traitors. I'm supposed to be faster than this." "You're human. Humans make mistakes." "Not me," Emma's voice cracked. "I don't get to make mistakes. Every mistake costs lives. Every hesitation puts Marines in danger. I should have moved sooner. Should have seen Webb's panic earlier. Should have." "Stop." Raymond grabbed her shoulders, forced her to look at him. "Listen to me. You just caught a traitor who'd been operating for 5 years. You collected evidence so overwhelming he can't escape justice. You prevented him from selling more secrets, from compromising more operations, from killing more Marines. That's not failure. That's victory." "It doesn't feel like victory." "It never does." His voice softened. "I've been doing this for 30 years, Alina, hunting bad people, protecting good ones, and you know what I've learned. The wins never erase the losses, but they matter anyway. Torres, Kim, and Murphy are gone. Nothing changes that. But because of you, no one else will die from Webb's betrayal. That has to be enough." Emma wanted to believe him, wanted to feel the satisfaction of mission completion, of justice served. But all she felt was tired, so tired. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we take Webb back. You testify at his court-martial. He goes to Leavenworth for the rest of his life. And you," Raymond paused, "what will you do?" "Find the next one." Emma's voice was automatic. "There's always a next one." "Is that really what you want? To spend the rest of your life hunting ghosts?" She didn't answer, couldn't, because the truth was she didn't know what else to do. Being Phantom was all she had left. Take that away, and who was she? The cutter's horn sounded. Time to return to shore, to face the aftermath, to watch another traitor go to prison while wondering if she'd been fast enough this time. Emma Mercer had ceased to exist the moment she revealed herself. Captain Alina Reeves would file her report, testify at the trial, and then disappear again into whatever identity DIA assigned her next. But Phantom would endure, would hunt, would never stop looking for the people who betrayed the ones who trusted them. Because someone had to, even if it cost her everything. The court-martial lasted 6 days. Emma testified for 11 hours total, spread across 3 sessions. She presented 18 months of evidence, photographs, audio recordings, financial documents, classified cables that Webb had sold. The defense attorney tried everything, questioned her credibility, suggested she'd fabricated evidence, implied she had personal vendetta. Emma sat in the witness box and methodically destroyed every argument. Clinical, professional, devastating. On the 4th day, they played the video. The one that had gone viral 6 months ago. Emma Mercer being surrounded, questioned, mocked by Marines who had no idea who they were talking to. The courtroom watched Dean Keller shove her, watched Troy Bennett record it for entertainment, watched Maria Vasquez laugh. And then the defense attorney asked, "Captain Reeves, isn't it true that you manufactured this entire scenario? That you deliberately provoked these Marines to create a cover story for your operation?" Emma looked at him. "No. No, you expect this court to believe you just happened to drop a tray, just happened to be harassed, just happened to catch Chief Webb's attention in exactly the way your operation needed. I expect this court to believe the evidence. Emma's voice was ice, which shows that I was a contractor doing my job when I was surrounded and humiliated by Marines who thought it would be funny to terrorize a civilian. My emotional response wasn't manufactured. My fear wasn't an act. What you saw in that video was real. But you're trained in undercover operations. Yes, I'm trained to maintain cover under stress. That doesn't mean I enjoyed being treated like garbage. It just means I didn't break character. She leaned forward. And that video, counselor, it almost cost me everything. Chief Webb saw it, recognized I was too knowledgeable to be that incompetent, and fled. 300 more Marines could have died if he'd successfully sold his next batch of maintenance protocols. So please don't suggest I wanted that to happen. The defense attorney had no response. On day 6, the verdict came back. Guilty. All charges. Webb was sentenced to life imprisonment at Fort Leavenworth, no possibility of parole. Emma sat in the gallery and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief. Just the hollow awareness that one more traitor was down, and somewhere out there, a dozen more were preparing to take his place. After the trial, Dean Keller approached her in the hallway. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes, weight loss, the haunted expression of someone who'd been forced to confront their own cruelty. Captain Reeves, his voice was barely audible. I don't know what to say. Then don't say anything. Emma started to walk past him. Wait, please. He blocked her path. I need you to know that I'm sorry for the video, for humiliating you, for being so goddamn stupid that I almost let a traitor escape because I was too busy trying to look tough in front of my friends. Emma studied his face, saw genuine remorse there, but remorse didn't erase the memory of being surrounded, mocked, recorded for entertainment. You want forgiveness, Sergeant? Yes, if that's possible. I'm not the one you hurt most. Emma's voice was quiet. Torres, Kim, and Murphy, they're the ones who paid for your entertainment. If you want forgiveness, spend the rest of your career making sure no other Marine dies because someone wasn't paying attention. Dean nodded slowly. I will, I promise. Don't promise me, promise them. She walked away, leaving him standing alone in the hallway. Raymond found her outside the courthouse, sitting on a bench in the winter sun. You okay? Define okay. He sat beside her. The colonel wants to see you, has a medal ceremony planned, wants to recognize your service publicly. No, the word was immediate, absolute. Elena. I can't be recognized publicly. I'm undercover DIA. The whole point is that I don't exist. She looked at him. The next operation I do, I'll be someone else. Different name, different face, different history. If my real identity gets out, I'm useless. You're not useless. To the mission I am. Emma stood. Tell the colonel thank you, but no medal ceremony, no recognition, no publicity. I'll take the commendation in my classified file and move on. Is that really what you want, to disappear again? Emma didn't answer, because the truth was complicated. Part of her wanted to disappear, wanted to shed Elena Reeves the same way she'd shed Emma Mercer, become someone new who didn't carry the weight of all these failures. But another part, a smaller part she tried to ignore, wanted to stay, wanted to be seen, wanted to be more than a ghost. I got a call from DIA, she said finally. New assignment, starting next month. Naval Air Station in San Diego. They think there's another traitor in the Aviation Logistics Division. Want me to infiltrate, identify, neutralize. Another 18 months undercover. Probably longer. This target's more careful, more experienced. Emma's laugh was bitter. They want Phantom, the ghost who never fails, except I do fail, Raymond. I'm just very good at making people think I don't. Raymond was quiet for a long moment. Then, you know what I think. What? I think you've been punishing yourself for 12 years for something that wasn't your fault. Your team died because someone betrayed them, not because you failed. but you've been carrying their deaths like it was your responsibility to save them." "It was my responsibility," Emma's voice cracked. "I was team leader, they trusted me, and I let them walk into an ambush." "You didn't know." "I should have." The words burst out of her, raw and jagged. "That's my job, Raymond, to know, to see the threats before they materialize, to protect my people. And I failed. 7 Marines went into the ground because I wasn't smart enough to see the traitor standing right in front of me." "So you became Phantom." Understanding dawned in Raymond's eyes. "You made yourself into the perfect hunter, the one who sees everything, who never misses a threat, because if you're perfect enough, fast enough, smart enough, maybe you can save the next team." Emma said nothing. Couldn't, because he just articulated the truth she'd been running from for 12 years. "But here's the thing about perfection," Raymond continued. "It doesn't exist. You can spend your whole life chasing it and all you'll catch is exhaustion. Torres, Kim, and Murphy died because Webb betrayed them, not because you weren't fast enough. Webb made a choice. He chose money over Marines, that's on him. But I could have stopped him sooner. Maybe, or maybe you couldn't. Maybe 18 months was actually impressive for catching someone who'd been operating undetected for 5 years. Maybe you did everything right, and people still died anyway because that's war. That's espionage. That's the reality of hunting traitors in a world where bad people have all the advantages." Emma sat back down on the bench, suddenly exhausted. "I don't know how to do anything else. Being Phantom is all I have." "Then find something else." Raymond sat beside her. "You're 41 years old, Alina. How much longer can you do this? Another 12 years, 20. Until what? Until you're so deep undercover you forget who you really are." "I already forgot." The admission came out in a whisper. "I don't remember who Alina Reeves was before she became Phantom. Don't remember what I wanted, what I dreamed about, who I loved. All of that died with my team. What's left is just the mission, the hunt, the next target." "That's not living, that's existing." "It's enough." "Is it?" Raymond challenged. "Because from where I'm sitting you look like someone drowning. You caught Webb. You're about to catch another traitor, and another after that. And somewhere along the way you'll realize that no matter how many you catch, it won't bring your team back, won't erase the guilt, won't fill the hole inside you." Emma wanted to argue, wanted to defend her choices, her sacrifices, her dedication to the mission. But sitting there in the winter sun, watching Marines walk past in their dress blues, she felt the weight of Raymond's words settle over her like a blanket. 12 years, 11 traitors caught, and she was more alone now than she'd been the day her team died. "What do you want me to do?" Her voice was small, broken. "Just give up. Let traitors operate freely because I'm too tired to hunt them." "No, I want you to let someone else carry the weight for a while." Raymond pulled out his phone, showed her a message. "Remember Private Hannah Lynn? She was at the hangar that day. Watched the whole thing." "I remember. She just graduated from DIA training. Top of her class. Wants to do what you do, hunt traitors, protect Marines. She asked about you specifically. Wants to learn from Phantom." Emma looked at the message, at the young woman's eager face in her graduation photo. "She's too young. You were 29 when you started this. She's 26. That's not too young, that's perfect." Raymond pocketed his phone. "Train her, Alina. Pass on what you've learned. Let her be Phantom for the next generation. And you try being Alina Reeves again. Figure out who that person is when she's not hunting ghosts." "I can't." The words came out automatically. "The mission will continue without you. That's the thing about missions, Alina. They're bigger than any one person. Webb's in prison. The next traitor will be caught, and the one after that. The work doesn't stop just because you do." Emma stood, started walking. Raymond followed. They walked in silence through the base, past Marines training, past aircraft taxiing on the runway, past the memorial wall where names of the fallen were engraved in stone. Emma stopped in front of it, ran her fingers over 7 names. Her team, still there, still remembered. They wouldn't want this for you, Raymond said quietly. 12 years of hunting, 12 years of punishment, they'd want you to live. How do you know what they'd want? Because I knew them, served with tours in Fallujah before he joined your team. He talked about you all the time, said you were the best team leader he'd ever had, that you cared more about your Marines than yourself. Raymond paused. He wouldn't want you sacrificing the next 12 years because you couldn't save him. He'd want you to honor his memory by living, really living, not just existing between operations. Alina, not Emma, not Phantom, but Alina felt something crack inside her chest, something that had been frozen for 12 years, and tears came, finally came. She'd been too strong for too long, and Raymond's words had found the one weak point in her armor. She collapsed against the memorial wall and wept, for Tors and Kim and Murphy, for her 7 Marines, for all the years spent hunting instead of healing, for the life she'd never let herself live because she was too busy being perfect. Raymond didn't say anything, just stood there, present, patient. When Alina finally stopped crying, her voice was hoarse. I don't know how to stop. Start small, take a week off, see what it feels like to not be undercover. A week, then maybe 2, then a month. Baby steps, Alina. You don't have to figure everything out today. She wiped her eyes, looked at the memorial wall one more time. If I stop being Phantom, what am I? I don't know. Raymond's smile was gentle, but wouldn't it be interesting to find out? 3 weeks later, Alina Reeves stood in her apartment, her real apartment, not undercover housing, and stared at her phone. DIA had called. The San Diego assignment was ready. They needed Phantom. She told them she needed more time. They'd given her a month. Hannah Lynn was training now, preparing for her first operation, learning to become invisible, to hunt, to be the next Phantom. And Alina was learning something harder, learning to be visible, to exist outside the mission, to remember what it felt like to be a person instead of a ghost. It was terrifying. But maybe Raymond was right. Maybe living was supposed to be terrifying. Maybe that's how you knew you were actually doing it. Alina set her phone down, walked to her window, looked out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, traitors were operating. Somewhere, Marines were in danger. But tonight, for the first time in 12 years, someone else would watch for them. Tonight, Alina Reeves would just be. And maybe that was enough. 6 months later, Jake Morrison walked into the Camp Lejeune coffee shop and stopped dead. Sitting at a corner table, reading a book, was a woman he'd last seen testifying at a court-martial. She looked different. Longer hair, civilian clothes, reading glasses perched on her nose, but unmistakably the same person. He approached carefully. Captain Reeves. She looked up and a slow smile crossed her face. Real, warm, nothing like the ice she'd worn as Emma Mercer. Jake, hi, it's just Alina now. I'm not active duty anymore. You left DIA. Semi-retired, I consult sometimes, train new operatives, but I'm not undercover anymore. She gestured to the empty chair across from her. Want to sit? He did, studied her face. You look different. I feel different. Alina closed her book. Turns out when you stop living a lie, you start remembering what the truth feels like. That's really deep. She laughed, actually laughed. Jake had never heard her laugh before. It was startling how normal she sounded. I've been going to therapy, learning to process things. It makes you say pretentious stuff sometimes. Therapy, really? Really? Turns out spending 12 years undercover hunting traitors does a number on your mental health. Who knew? Her tone was self-deprecating, light. Jake grinned. I'm glad you're doing better. You deserve it. Thank you, Alina paused. I heard you got promoted, Sergeant Morrison now. Yeah, last month. And I'm training to become a helicopter crew chief. Figured if I'm going to work around aircraft, I should actually understand them. That's good, really good. She meant it. How's Dean and the others? Dean's different, quieter. He volunteers at the VA hospital now, works with veterans who have PTSD, says it helps him remember what service actually means. Jake's expression grew serious. What you did, catching Webb, testifying, it changed a lot of people, made us realize we'd been taking things for granted, taking each other for granted. I'm glad something good came from it. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Jake asked, "Can I ask you something? You don't have to answer if you don't want to." "Go ahead." "That day in the hangar, when we surrounded you, were you scared?" Alina considered the question. "Yes, not of you. You weren't actually going to hurt me, but I was scared of blowing my cover, of failing the mission, of letting 3 Marines die because I couldn't handle some harassment without revealing myself." She paused. "But mostly I was sad because I remembered what it was like to be part of something, to have Marines around me who trusted me. And there you all were, treating me like an enemy, like I didn't belong. It was lonely." "I'm sorry. I know you already apologized, and I've forgiven you, really forgiven you, not just said it." Alina's smile was gentle. "You were young, you made a mistake. You owned it and grew from it. That's all anyone can ask." Jake nodded. "I should let you get back to your book." "Wait." Alina reached into her bag, pulled out a card. "I'm teaching a class at the community college, military ethics and intelligence operations. If you're interested, you should come by. Guest speakers welcome." Jake took the card. "You're teaching." "Apparently that's what semi-retired intelligence officers do." "Who knew?" She smiled. "But seriously, I think you'd be good at it. You see things other people miss. That's valuable." "I'll think about it." "Good." Alina stood, gathering her things. "It was good seeing you, Jake." "You too, Alina." She walked to the door, then paused, turned back. "Jake, thank you." "For what?" "For being the one person in that hangar who saw me, really saw me, even when I was trying to be invisible." Her eyes were bright. "That mattered more than you know." And then she was gone, disappearing into the afternoon crowd. Not as Emma Mercer, not as Phantom, but as Alina Reeves, a woman finding her way back to life. Jake sat alone with his coffee, turning her card over in his hands. Teaching, community college, normal life. For someone who'd spent 12 years being a ghost, Alina had finally learned the most difficult mission of all. Being human. Sometimes strength isn't about how many enemies you defeat. Sometimes it's about having the courage to stop fighting long enough to heal, to forgive yourself most of all, to choose life over mission, hope over haunting. Alina had been Phantom for 12 years, the ghost who hunted traitors, the perfect weapon who never failed. But ghosts aren't meant to last forever. Eventually they have to let go, have to become real again. And when they do, when they finally step into the light and let themselves be seen, that's when they discover the truth. They were never really invisible. People saw them all along. The broken parts, the scared parts, the parts desperately trying to be strong enough. People saw. And some, like Raymond, like Jake, like the Marines who'd surrounded her not knowing who she was, some of them cared enough to help her find her way back. That's the real mission. Not hunting traitors, not being perfect, not sacrificing everything for a cause. The real mission is connection, is community, is letting yourself be seen, flaws and all, and trusting that people will care anyway. Alina Reeves had learned that lesson 12 years too late. But she'd learned it. And now she was teaching it to others. Sometimes dignity doesn't speak, it simply acts. Sometimes strength doesn't shout, it whispers. And sometimes, the greatest act of courage isn't becoming invisible. It's letting yourself be seen.